trust me when I say I know how to have a good time and I know how to party. But I don't want to do it with breaking the bank. Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. It is that time of year. It's just really festive, right? And it can all add up, especially if you're going to be the host. So I'm going to get a little bit more serious here and talk about some ways to be a great host or hostess, have some delicious food without breaking the bank. My husband and I are on a debt snowball. We've paid off $25,000 in debt and we still have about $68,000 left, mostly in student loans. And so we are very, very, very focused on budgeting, saving money where we can, but there's nothing worse than coming across like you're a cheapskate. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a very big difference between being a cheapskate and then being thrifty. So I love to be frugal. Let's talk about some main dish ideas. I will say in advance that these things are not if you're on like a crazy diet, especially a low carb diet. I'm sorry, carbs are cheap. Okay, number one, think about doing like a pasta bar. Pasta is cheap, as we all know. You can get all kinds of fun, festive, colorful pastas, and then you can make some very easy sauces. You can buy some canned sauces. You can try to make your own instead of using ground beef, which can kind of be expensive. I recommend substituting it with sausage. I don't know where you live. Maybe ground beef is cheaper where you live, but where I live, you can get a pound of Italian sausage for about $2. Whereas ground beef is going to be more like 3 to 5 per pound. So look at what your options are, and you can even substitute the meat with some beans. And then if you make some French bread, you can make a loaf of French bread for like 50 cents, if not cheaper. And it is so good. It's so much better than what you can buy at the store. And I will link below a video to my very favorite recipe for French bread. I've used it for years, and it makes 2 giant loaves. So if you've got your pasta, your sauces, your 2 loaves of French bread, you've got an awesome meal. Main dish number 2 is going to be some type of a baked potato bar. Potatoes are so cheap. Now I live in Idaho, so of course they're probably extra cheap because I can just go down the road to like Farmer John here, right? Okay, actually that's not how Idaho is. But I can get a 5-pound bag of potatoes for $1 or less. So you bake up your potatoes, you bake them in the oven so that they're nice and good. If you rub a little oil and then put some sea salt on before you bake them and bake them long enough so that the skins are really crispy, that potato is gonna be really satisfying and filling for like so cheap. It does not get any cheaper than potatoes. Throw on some sour cream, some chives, green onions, some cheese out there. Skip the bacon. Unless you're rich, then you can do the bacon, but we're going for affordable, right? So do your baked potato bar and your guests will be very happy and very filled. Main dish number 3 is going to center around rice. Rice is super cheap and it's so easy to make either in your Instant Pot or your rice cooker. So that part is like the easiest part. And then you can take like chicken breasts and either make like a teriyaki chicken with some barbecue sauce. I know, it sounds weird, but it's actually delicious. You can add some cream of whatever soups to your chicken, maybe a little chicken gravy packet, and then you've got like a chicken gravy and it's delicious. And you're gonna be saving a whole lot of money by going with something based around rice. Number 4 is making some homemade bread or rolls or biscuits. And you can make some chicken soup in your Instant Pot or just on the stove for so cheap. It's gonna take some onions, celery, carrots, a few seasonings, and then your chicken. And then you can substitute noodles for rice, or you can pick up some egg noodles, and you've got homemade chicken noodle soup with a ton of rolls, and it's gonna fill people up. It's gonna be hot and yummy, and who can say no to fresh baked bread? Not this gal right here. Kind of along the soup and bread line is chili and cornbread. Now you can, again, substitute ground pork instead of the beef, and I promise it will taste just as good. You can double the beans to make it stretch even further, and there's so many delicious chili recipes, but I will try to find the link to my favorite one. It's a Texas Roadhouse copycat. I think that the spices are just like divine, and if I'm ever needing to feed like a ton of people, I do my big pot of white chili, and some cornbread that I just make from scratch. You can buy cornbread mixes for very cheap as well. And then you've got something very delicious that's very filling, very satisfying. It's warm, it's hearty, and it doesn't break the bank. Okay, I'm just gonna go through these sides very quickly, otherwise this video is gonna turn into like an hour. But if you have to bring a side for something, consider bringing deviled eggs. Eggs right now are less than $1 a dozen where I live. People will not expect you to show up with deviled eggs, but they're so delicious and people typically love deviled eggs and they're so cheap to make. Okay, I know that I've already mentioned making bread, but if you can find a way to bring homemade bread, homemade biscuits, homemade French bread, people are going to love you because it's delicious and you're gonna love it because it's super cheap. Did you know that you can make yogurt in your Instant Pot? I know, who usually brings yogurt as a side dish? But you can totally jazz it up. You can bring like maybe a bag of frozen berries, or you can bring some granola on top, and it will be totally unexpected but so delicious. So I can make about 6 to 8 cups of Greek yogurt in my Instant Pot for the cost of a gallon of milk, which is about $1.78 these days. So I will link below my most popular video, which is homemade yogurt in the Instant Pot, and you can follow that recipe. So for $1.78, you're gonna have a gorgeous bowl of yogurt, maybe bring some toppings, and it will be totally unexpected that you show up with yogurt parfaits for your side, but it'll be so delicious and I think people will gobble it up. I know every time that I make my yogurt parfaits, which is kind of like every time I have to bring something, people are like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Why didn't I think to bring this? It's totally gonna be like potato chips and dip. If you go to the store and buy a pre-cut veggie tray, you're gonna get like hardly any vegetables. So do yourself a favor, buy the 2-pound bag of baby carrots for about $2. Buy a couple things of celery, wash them really good, trim them up, and it will fill up a huge vegetable tray. Buy a thing of sour cream and then buy the store brand ranch dressing mix. And for like less than $5, you're gonna have a veggie tray that's like 2 or 3 times the size of one that would cost you like $7, $8 pre-made. But really, you're gonna love it because you're gonna be saving a lot of dollars. Okay, if you're wanting to make some holiday treats, watch for sales on brownie mixes. So right now at my local grocery store, they are selling brownie mixes for 68 cents a box. That's pretty cheap. The going rate at Walmart is usually 88 cents to $1 for a regular box of brownies. So all you have to do is add in some essential oils. I recommend peppermint, wild orange, or cinnamon, not all together, separately. But you can make some delicious brownies that are going to blow everybody's mind because they're going to be peppermint flavored or cinnamon flavored or wild orange flavored, and they're going to taste like an orange stick, and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, what is in this brownie? As long as you're using essential oils that are like edible, use that, or you can buy some of the extracts that are supposed to go in food. Peppermint extract is cheap, so look for peppermint or cinnamon or wild orange, something like that, and it will flavor the brownies and it will take them to a whole other level. Sprinkle some powdered sugar on top and you don't even need the frosting. Okay, any type of dessert or snack that you can make that centers around popcorn is gonna save you tons of money. Where were we before I ran out of space? Oh yes, popcorn. So you can make your popcorn, you can put like a holiday scented essential oil in with the butter, add a little bit of brown sugar, some cinnamon, mix it all around. Super good and super cheap. And if you want to get really fancy, you can make Jell-O flavored popcorn. There's recipes all over. I'll try to link some down below. Another great and delicious idea is marshmallow popcorn. So you can use margarine, which is way cheaper than butter, and don't worry, like nobody's gonna die if they have a little bit of hydrogenated oil at a Christmas party. So you'll melt your margarine and your marshmallows, and marshmallows are like $1 a bag, and it's gonna be so delicious. So the next thing is all about cake mixes. Again, these types of things go on sale this time of year, so stock up, and you'll be amazed at how many different recipes you can find for cake mix. There's tons of recipes, and I'll try to link some below, but pretty much you can make cookies, brownies, bars. So if you can find a great deal on cake mixes right now, go ahead and stock up, get a lot of different flavors, and then you'll have a lot of different options based on what you're going to, what you think your guests will like, using a cake mix. Okay, so that sums it up. I've probably given you way more ideas than you could ever use in one holiday season, but hopefully these ideas were helpful for you to save money and still enjoy the holidays without coming across like a giant cheapskate And if you like these kinds of videos, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you in my next video. Bye!